This morning, cruise crisis. The Ruby Princess docks south of Sydney. Hundreds of infected crew are on board. Now the New South Wales Premier admitting the handling of the crisis went horribly wrong. Supermarket rules, new restrictions put in place across the country, which could see you queue up just to get in the door. And Boris Johnson in hospital as the Queen calls for calm. See Her Majesty's message of empowerment as Britain is ravaged by the virus.
This is 7 News with Ann Sanders.
Good morning. The coronavirus-stricken Ruby Princess cruise ship has finally docked south of Sydney with more than 1,000 crew members still on board. The vessel has become the single largest source of COVID-19 cases in New South Wales. Live to Samantha Brett, who's in Port Kembla. Good morning, Sam. Has anyone been let off the ship?
And good morning. No crew members are allowed to leave the ship, but it was about 4 hours ago when we saw the Ruby Princess arrive here at Port Kembla. 1,000 crew members are on board. They certainly looked very distressed as they came onto their balcony to see where they had arrived. We know that 200 crew members are now showing those flu-like COVID-19-like symptoms. So we heard from the New South Wales Police Commissioner Mick Fuller a short time ago.
A plan has been developed that will be around isolation on the ship, and then from that 10-day period of isolation, we can then continue to work with Carnival in relation to repatriation of the individuals on the ship.
So the crew will not disembark except for an emergency, but there will be medical checks on board over the next 10 days. Meantime, we heard yesterday that New South Wales Police have launched a criminal investigation to determine exactly how those 2,700 passengers that were on board the ship were able to disembark last month. Over the weekend, unfortunately, we heard that there were 4 more deaths related to the ship. That brings the total number of deaths to 11. Anne?
Samantha Brett reporting. Thank you, Sam. Let's bring in Chris Reason now. Good morning, Chris. The pressure is mounting on the government over the handling of this fiasco.
Yeah, the pressure and the questions refuse to go away. Good morning to you. And I think the New South Wales government had hoped by the fact that it had appointed the Police Commissioner Mick Fuller to oversee the investigation, a homicide squad investigation into the crisis surrounding the Ruby Princess ship would make the scrutiny perhaps go away, disappear. It hasn't happened. It's gone the other way. We saw the 7 News special last night and again this morning, the press conference dominated by questions about the Ruby Princess, not helped, of course, by the fact that 4 of the last 5 most recent deaths in relation to COVID-19 have been passengers on board that ship, and not helped either by the changing, shifting policies of New South Wales Health towards it. We asked this morning why the policy at the beginning, when it birthed March 19, was to get passengers off as quickly as possible, and now 2-3 weeks later it seems to be to keep them on as long as possible. Why that discrepancy? It's something they wouldn't answer. And also, as we know, there have been rising calls for the Health Minister of New South Wales, Brad Hazzard, to step down over this crisis. Today the Premier was standing with him, refusing to acknowledge that at all. Let's take a listen to her.
I think it's plainly obvious that something horribly wrong has happened.
Is it appropriate that the Health Minister stay in his role right now whilst that investigation is being undertaken?
Well, absolutely. These are operational matters that will be dealt with. I have nothing further to say on that.
Chris, what about the latest infection figures in New South Wales? Another 2 people died overnight.
Sadly correct. And yes, an 86-year-old man, 85-year-old man. It takes the total of deaths in New South Wales to 18. Total number of cases right now stands at 2,637, with 40 in ICU and 22 on ventilators. Now, Health can't tell us either how many people have actually recovered from this disease, which is a question we're getting a lot on 7 News social media websites. They say it's a very difficult and complex number to produce, but one bit of good news is that they say overnight increases was down again to 57 last night. Anne.
Chris Reason reporting. Thank you very much, Chris. Those 2 new deaths in New South Wales brings the national total to 37. The confirmed number of coronavirus cases in Australia is now 5,750. New South Wales has just over 2,600. Victoria has more than 1,000. There are 907 in Queensland, 409 in South Australia. WA has 453. In the ACT, there are 96. 86 in Tasmania and 27 in the Northern Territory. To deal with a predicted Easter shopping rush, new measures begin at supermarkets today. Coles and Woolworths will limit the number of customers allowed in store, and police officers are expected to be on hand to help. The details from Tegan Dolling.
If you have to head to a grocery store today, be prepared to wait in a line. New restrictions have been brought in across Australia at most Coles and Woolworths stores, limiting the number of customers allowed inside. This is so they are properly adhering to the social distancing guidelines. Customers will be counted at the door and forced to queue outside and wait until other shoppers leave. How many people will be allowed in at a time depends on the size of the store. Security guards and specialised staff members have been seen at front entrances today to enforce the new restrictions. This is all ahead of what's expected to be a very busy week at the shops. Easter has historically been the busiest time of the year at Coles and Woolworths. Thursday is the most hectic in the lead up to the long weekend.
Thanks, Tegan. The federal government has accused Labor of trying to delay the rollout of the $130 billion wage subsidy, which is expected to pass the Parliament on Wednesday. Live now to Taylor Atkin at Parliament House in Canberra. Good morning, Taylor. There are calls for the scheme to be extended to more casuals.
Good morning, and that's right. Union bosses had expressed concern about the 1.1 million casual workers who did not qualify for the JobKeeper payment as they hadn't been with their employer for at least 12 months. But Attorney General Christian Porter insists at this stage there won't be a change, with the government following definitions set out in the Fair Work Act.
The definition of casual that we've used is in essence from the Fair Work Act. It talks about a systemic connection to an employer for 12 months. There have to be limits, even to a scheme of this enormous size.
Parliament will return this Wednesday with the government confident it has the support of legislation to be passed in just one day, saying up to 6 million Australian jobs rely on it. And
Taylor Aiken in Canberra. Thank you, Taylor. Education ministers from across the country will meet tomorrow as concerns grow over our schooling system, especially Year 12 exams. They'll be discussing ways to help compensate for the disruption caused by the virus outbreak and its effect on ATAR scores.
The hope is that we'll be able to get everyone through this year because we want all those Year 12s to be able to realise their dreams of going to uni, going to a vocational education provider or going into employment like every Year 12 has done for the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Boosting overall scores and changes to university applications have been flagged as options. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been taken to hospital for further testing 10 days after being diagnosed with coronavirus. The 55-year-old is struggling to recover from persistent symptoms of the illness, including a high fever. His office says it's a precautionary step and he will continue leading the government response to the outbreak. Meanwhile, the Queen has delivered a landmark address as the coronavirus spreads across the UK. It was a rare appearance from Her Majesty, reserved for times of crisis. Today, calling on the public to band together to get through the pandemic.
A rare address from the Queen at Windsor Castle.
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all.
Her Majesty acknowledging the hardship and loss inflicted by the virus, praising medical staff and the way Britons have thanked them.
The moments when the United Kingdom has come together to applaud its care and essential workers will be remembered as an expression of our national spirit. And its symbol will be the rainbows drawn by children. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say the Britons of this generation were as strong as any.
Royal broadcasts like this are exceptionally rare. Elizabeth's first was as a princess, alongside her sister Margaret in 1940 during the Second World War.
We as children spoke from here at Windsor to children who had been evacuated from their homes and sent away for their own safety. Today, once again, many will feel a painful sense of separation from their loved ones.
But there was, too, a message of hope.
We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. Better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
The Queen at 94, of course, is in a high-risk group for coronavirus. Just one cameraman was in a large room at Windsor Castle where they practiced social distancing while recording that, and that cameraman was wearing full protective gear.
Next in 7 News, a lifeline for homeowners, why you won't be penalised for freezing your mortgage, and a desperate search underway for 2 fishermen just outside of Melbourne, one related to a high-profile athlete. That's just ahead.
Coronavirus. In the race to respond, 7 News is the one news service separating facts from fear. The one place keeping you totally informed.
Chief Medical Officer is very concerned this worrying cluster at the airport is continuing.
7 News is your definitive source to help you prepare.
South Australian police have made no apologies for cracking down on those breaking coronavirus rules.
Turn to 7 News.
Get 60 months interest-free now at Harvey Norman and receive a bonus gift card. The more you spend using interest-free, the greater the value of the bonus gift card, up to $300. Get what you need now with great deals across a huge range of furniture and bedding. Get 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. The more you spend using interest-free, the greater the value of the bonus gift card, up to $300. Limited time only, now at Harvey Norman.
Eclipse Chewy Mint?
Thanks.
You look fresher.
Don't be ridiculous.
Eclipse Chewy Mints.
Portside Mitsubishi's huge demo sale is on now. Drive away in an ASX ES Auto now $24,990. Eclipse Cross Black Edition Auto now $28,990. Drive away. Huge demo savings continue. Triton GLX 4x4 Auto now $33,990. Drive away. Triton GLS Auto now $41,990. Drive away. And Pajero GLX Auto now $46,990. Drive away. So don't go anywhere. Don't buy anything. Don't sign anything until you've checked out Portside Mitsubishi.
Did you know manual toothbrushes can leave up to half the plaque behind? Go pro with the Oral-B Vitality electric toothbrush from Chemist Warehouse. Unlike traditional brushes, Oral-B's unique rounded brush head surrounds each tooth, breaking up plaque and then rotating to sweep it away. The Oral-B Vitality electric toothbrush is now $19.99 at Chemist Warehouse. Try Oral-B, the #1 brand used by dentists. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
They've all got that RSPCA pet insurance feeling, knowing that up to 80% of their eligible vet bills will be reimbursed, that they can claim up to $20,000 a year with no excess. And while they're doing the right thing for their pet, they feel great knowing their premiums are helping support the RSPCA. Call 136 137 or search RSPCA Pet Insurance and experience that RSPCA Pet Insurance feeling now.
Take a moment to experience bliss. Smooth melting Lindor. Melt into a moment of bliss from Lind.
The banks are stepping up to help people forced to defer loan repayments on their mortgage and credit cards. From today, Australians given a 6-month deferral won't have their credit rating affected. In an effort to relieve stress, banks will not report customers as having missed a repayment. That's provided they were up to date with their payments before the outbreak. There are grave concerns for 2 men who went missing on the Mornington Peninsula outside of Melbourne. A massive search effort is underway for the pair, who were last seen leaving on a fishing trip. Cassie Zervos filed this report from the scene a short time ago.
The 2 men were last seen leaving Flinders boat ramp yesterday at 6 in the morning, but the alarm was raised when they failed to return home late last night and weren't answering phone calls and text messages. The 20-year-old man and 33-year-old man set out on their vessel during what police have described as horror weather conditions.
Not the best time to go out on a boat, and particularly with the bans, with the other issues that are going on at the moment.
No craft should have been on the water either. So there's definitely, the conditions weren't conducive to a boat of that size in that water. Even the bigger boats out there that were looking yesterday found it quite difficult in those conditions. So
a desperate land, sea and sky search is now underway to find the pair, including police, air wing, water police and SES crews. Concerned family members and police are now urging anyone who might know any information to help with this search to call police immediately.
Americans are being warned to prepare for one of the hardest and saddest weeks of their lives, as the death toll from coronavirus is predicted to soar. Ashley Mullaney has more. Ash, the nation heard from the Surgeon General a short time ago.
America's top doctor delivered the stark warning that the coming days will resemble Pearl Harbor as the number of cases grew above 330,000, the number of deaths inching towards 10,000. Speaking from the White House this evening, the president walked a fine line between recognising the severity of the crisis but speaking of light at the end of the tunnel. The pictures from the epicentre in New York tell a story of a healthcare system at breaking point. Medical staff pushed to their limits, the apex just days away or possibly plateauing.
This is going to be the hardest and the saddest week of most Americans' lives, quite frankly. This is going to be our Pearl Harbor moment, our 9/11 moment, only it's not going to be localized. It's going to be happening all over the country, and I want America to understand that.
Across the country, cases are growing from Washington, D.C. to New Orleans and Detroit. In Florida, passengers, including 80 Australians, are slowly disembarking the Coral Princess in Miami, while hundreds of Australians from the ill-fated ships Zaandam and Rotterdam finally started their journey home, a charter flight ferrying them home from San Francisco to Melbourne tonight.
On the financial markets, the ASX is up around 2.3% this morning. The Australian dollar is buying 60 US cents, 65 Japanese yen and $1.02 New Zealand. New South Wales Rural Fire Service Commissioner Shane Fitzsimmons is stepping down from the top job. He's accepted another role as head of a new disaster and recovery agency to be known as Resilience New South Wales.
I take on this new role with a deal of trepidation, of course, but I'm very open to the idea of continuing to make a difference.
Fitzsimmons has been working behind the scenes on the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Next in 7 News 4, Jackie Felgate, including the latest plans to restart the NRL season, and Socceroos legend Mark Viduka attacks the Football Federation of Australia.
Tonight, television's most inspiring home reveals. House Rules High Stakes starts tonight at 7 on 7.
At Bunnings, we're here to help with some simple projects you can do while you're at home, like getting started on that veggie patch. You can shop online, order what you need, and we'll bundle it up for you. Bunnings Warehouse. It's like having the warehouse at your fingertips.
Today we'll be offering... They're gone. What do you mean they're gone? The snacks. They're gone. Missing. Well, they have to be here somewhere. They're not here. They can't just get up and walk away.
All right, only 13 more hours to go.
New M&M's Mint, in stores now.
Cassini House for Adelaide's best granite, marble and engineered stone bench tops. All in the one place. Cassini House.
All my dreams are coming true.
Are you confident you can cover your living costs in retirement? A Challenger lifetime annuity can complement your existing retirement income, giving you guaranteed income for life. Find out more at challenger.com.au.
If dry or flaky skin is causing you frustration and embarrassment, try E45 cream. It soothes and relieves by creating an effective barrier to protect against skin dryness. Feel comfortable in your skin. Switch to E45.
Goodbye, Grant. Hey, Timber Shine. Refresh does the trick. A deep clean, a brand new sheen. It's gorgeous and it's schmick. For refresh, timber and more. Refresh with Electro Dry. Refresh. Electro Dry. Electro Dry.
For 48 hours only, save a massive 30% off store-wide at Spotlight. Yes, 30% off Manchester home decorating, fabrics, crafts, party curtains and blinds store-wide. Exclusions apply. Rush into Spotlight. Shop in store or online. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Good morning. Patrick Dangerfield has taken personal offence with the criticism in the recently negotiated AFL pay deal. Players took a 50% cut for the next 2 months, and the Geelong Star has reservations about keeping shortened quarters in the AFL.
So it's not just as clear-cut as saying, oh, yeah, it worked really well in round one, let's continue it. The way I see it anyway is that 20 minutes plus time on 22 games throughout the season. So the CBA would have to be revisited.
Dangerfield urged those looking to slash lists from 44 to 35 to take a deep breath. The immediate future of the NRL will be decided at a meeting of the ARL Commission in just over a fortnight. Commission member Wayne Pearce, who's heading up a committee tasked with finding a way to restart the season, remains hopeful the game can return in late May. The NRL plans to adopt the strict biosecurity measures that have allowed horse racing to continue during the pandemic. Israel Folau's multi-million-dollar payout could be at risk if Rugby Australia is forced into insolvency. The settlement for Folau's unfair dismissal case is reportedly being paid in instalments. That means if the governing body is unable to stay afloat, Folau would become an unsecured creditor and would likely only get a small percentage of what is owed. Wallabies legend Nick Farr-Jones fears an administrator could be appointed to Rugby Australia within a fortnight. Former Socceroos captain Mark Viduka has launched a scathing attack on Australian football. In a rare interview, Viduka said he was undermined by his Socceroos successor, Lucas Neal, and holds little faith in the sport's governing body in Australia.
You have people running football in Australia who don't have a clue about football.
Viduka also says he had a poor relationship with fellow Aussie Harry Kewell during their time at Leeds. And through the coronavirus gloom, there are still uplifting stories coming from our athletes. With the reality check of having to wait until next year for the Tokyo Olympics, Australia's finest gymnast, Georgia Goodwin, has volunteered to teach children online.
Now more than ever, kids need to stay active and stay healthy.
I feel like I'm giving back to the gymnastics community that has helped me so much in the past.
To give your kids a once-in-a-lifetime workout with a budding Olympian, go to online.deltagym.com.au. I tell you what, Anne, I'm going to have to sign my young daughter up for that.
Oh,
she's a very keen gymnast indeed.
Well done, Georgia. Thank you very much, Jackie. Next in 7's Morning News, the national weather forecast with David Brown.
In this time of uncertainty, you need the latest facts.
Testing for COVID-19 expanded.
That's why every night, the latest answers your critical questions.
Who did the cover-up, why and when?
What's developing?
More than 1 million people have tested positive.
Get the latest from 7 News every night.
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still anticipating your needs. So if your Lexus needs a service, we'll pick it up, deliver you a loan car and return yours thoroughly cleaned inside and out.
Take a moment to experience bliss. Smooth melting Lindor. Melt into a moment of bliss from Lind.
If dry or flaky skin is causing you frustration and embarrassment, try E45 cream. It soothes and relieves by creating an effective barrier to protect against skin dryness. Feel comfortable in your skin. Switch to E45.
Bring warmth and beauty into your home during our huge seasonal sale. All handmade Persian, Afghan and Turkish rugs 30 to 50% off. Indian and Chinese pieces 40 to 70% off for a limited time only. Visit our gallery at Kent Town.
Wish you had internet that didn't let you down? That doesn't leave you hanging? And won't have you missing any of the action? Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $65 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
One look at South Australia's CTP choices shows that SGIC wears the state colours on their sleeve. The wonders of data, eh? Choose SGIC, helping South Australians since 1972.
Careful.
Can I borrow your car?
You're joking, right? If you're like me and don't let other people drive your car, visit PD Insurance and see how much you can save.
Home for Easter means buns and fun. All day to play. Keeping fit. Everyone doing their bit. Hidden places and smiling faces. It also means 250 to 270 gram Cadbury large bunnies, now just $3.75 each. That's half price. And Cadbury Easter Hunt Crate, 170 gram pack of 10, now also just $3.75 each. That's half price too. This year, more than ever, have a safe and happy Easter.
A blood-thinning drug used for heart attack and stroke victims could reduce the number of coronavirus deaths. A US research paper is arguing for clinical trials of the drug, which is used to break up blood clots on COVID-19 patients. Blood clotting is contributing to patients' deaths, even when they are on ventilators. Researchers say if clinical trials are successful, it would be easy to scale up production of the drug because it is already in use. Pope Francis has marked Palm Sunday Mass in an almost empty St Peter's Basilica. Normally tens of thousands of people would have attended an outdoor Mass in St Peter's Square. Instead, the pontiff presided over a tiny indoor service. During his sermon, Pope Francis told young people not to be afraid to put their lives on the line for others during the coronavirus pandemic. We have a nice story for you now to finish our bulletin. Why did the elephants cross the road? Well, because everyone else was inside due to coronavirus measures. These pictures were captured by a forest ranger in southern India who spotted the herd of elephants taking a stroll. Animals in many parts of the country have taken over the streets since the entire population of 1.3 billion people was locked down a week ago. Taking a look at the weather around the country now, a broad high will allow winds to ease and showers to become more isolated over South Australia, Tasmania and Victoria. The high will direct moist onshore winds and showers over eastern New South Wales. A broad area of low pressure stretching from western WA through to northern Queensland will cause showers and storms. Around the capitals today, mostly sunny in Brisbane, a top of 29. Partly cloudy in Sydney and Canberra. A cloudy day in Melbourne and Hobart. A shower or two in Adelaide and 21. Mostly sunny in Perth today, a top of 32. A shower or two, a possible storm in Darwin, a top there of 33 degrees. And that's 7 News to now. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day. Our next bulletin is at 4 p.m. I'm Ann Sanders. Thanks for your company. Have a good day.